Okay, welcome to 3M Studios. My name is Don Calvano, and I have a special guest today, but I'm with Mandy Calvano, who is the owner of 3M Studios. And we have Denny Tedesco. Denny is a music documentary director who brought us Wrecking Crew a few years back and has produced a new film, follow-up film called Immediate Family, and it's currently playing on Hulu. Denny, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. Denny, for our viewers, could you kind of just walk us through who?
Sure. Well, the Wrecking Crew, for those who don't know anything about the Wrecking Crew, that was my first film, which was a story about my father, Tommy Tedesco, who was a guitar player in the 60s and 50s and 70s and onward. He did all the rock and roll with these guys that were called the Wrecking Crew, later named. And Sinatra, Jan and Dean, Mamas and Papas, Fifth Dimension, the Birds, the Monkees, you name it, they were involved in it. Well, at the end of the 60s, that era ended, and a new era of players come in. And that was the singer-songwriter era.
Okay.
And new players like Leland Sklar, who's a great bass player, Danny Kochmar, Waddy Wachtel, Russ Kunkel, drummer. They were some of the new players that came into the 70s. And basically, they have a band called Immediate Family now, their own band that they do for fun. And I learned about it a few years ago, and I said, I want to tell that story. Because it's the handoff from the Wrecking Crew. The first album that they do is Sweet Baby James, and then they do Tapestry, and then, for Carole King. And it just went from there. And from that point on, these guys were the ones that were in demand.
Okay.
And they went from session to session just like my father did, but the difference was they also went on the road. They were the real rock and rollers. They went on the road to support the recordings that they just did. So,
Now, the Wrecking Crew did not go on the road.
No, Wrecking Crew never went on the road. You didn't want to leave town. You leave town, someone else is going to take that seat, because it's a freelance business, and it's like, oh, you're not available? Okay, so-and-so fits in. So there was so much work in the 60s for my father and these guys. You only could tell how busy you were by how much you turned down. Okay. That's how crazy it was.
So you are a player too, then?
Absolutely not.
No?
No. I didn't practice.
Oh, okay.
This is what happens. If you don't practice, you make documentaries and go broke.
Yeah, you become a famous,
You could do it with music, but at least you can play on the street with a guitar.
Man, Denny, I wish I'd have talked to you 2 years ago.
Yeah, you should have.
So, Mandy, I know you're a sponsor of the screening that's going to be on June 2nd, which we'll get into in a minute. But tell me why you think it's important for 3M Studios to be involved in such an undertaking.
Well, for one, we have a huge connection to the music, whether it be your father, Tommy Tedesco, or Waddy Wachtel, or, it's a big connection for all of us. But we love the story of the camaraderie of musicianship. And that's one of the bases that 3M Studios was founded on. It's in our mission statement to bring education, to bring community to the music industry and to our community. So we just really resonated with the stories you're telling and these musicians working together, writing together. And, our first year open, we had a women's singer-songwriter group that was great. We had a group come in called the Snowbirds from Canada. And the fun thing about that group is we had a good friend of ours that supported us through the years through other businesses come in and say, I haven't played drums in 30 years. Can I play here? We said, sure, that's what we're here for. So he comes playing drums, Rick, and then all of a sudden the Snowbirds lose their drummer, and I got Mark saying, hey, Rick, you should play with the Snowbirds. They lost their drummer. And that's what this whole thing is about. It's like you say, giving somebody a seat or losing their seat or having a place to even have a seat. Yeah. And that's what we really wanted to emphasize here at 3M Studios, is there's a seat for everyone.
Yeah, great. With music, it's funny because growing up with, I grew up in not a musical family, I'm sorry. I grew up, my dad was a musician. I didn't see him play. He went to work every day like every other dad or mother. They went to work. I never saw dad play until the late 70s when he did his own stuff. But what I did see was the camaraderie with them. I could see them at their card games or they're hanging. And then now I see it with all these guys, the immediate family, they love to joke with each other.
Yeah.
Bands on the road, they're hilarious.
Well, I know
You did it.
I played music all my life, and I consider the band part of my family, or if not my second family, or my road family. But they turn out to be some of the closest relationships in your life.
And that it's true. I mean, that was one of the things I started the Wrecking Crew with, was one line. It said, "This is the story of my father and his extended family."
Yes.
The Wrecking Crew. When immediate family was offered to me, when they said, "What do you guys think of?" They said, "What do you think of this?" I said, "I like this because, again, it brings back family." I understood the containment. I understood the love, the brotherhood or sisterhood, whatever we have at that moment. And that was really what it's about. And it's not just in our business, your business, my business. It could be anybody's business. If you spend enough time in the workforce, whatever you guys are doing, you have one thing you're focusing on. You come together as a family.
Yes.
I'm not going to compare it to, being soldiers, but you do spend a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And
good advice from Denny, you guys. This is really good. Hey, Denny, tell us a little bit about June 2nd. What's going to go on and what we can expect?
I am bringing Leland Sklar, one of the greatest bass players in the world, and one of the nicest, kindest men as well, to the Ace Hotel. We're going to show the film on June 2nd, and he does a book signing at 4 o'clock, and then the screening starts at 6 o'clock. And it's great. I mean, if you can't come, you can watch it on Hulu. If you can't, or you can rent it. You can rent it on Amazon or Apple, whatever. But there's something about bringing people together again.
Yeah.
And so, there's something about the laughter in the room, with these guys.
I have not yet seen it, but
Great,
I will.
No, do you come on?
Well, you're coming on June 2nd,
yeah,
so...
better be there on June 2nd.
Yeah.
I do want to see that.
Save your
That's
money.
Really good. Yeah. Well, Denny, we can't thank you enough for
thank
taking the
you.
time out of your busy schedule to come to 3M Studios.
Thank you.
We really
And
appreciate it.
congratulations on this,
Oh,
because
thank you.
in the world we live in, it's harder and harder for kids to get an education, or anybody to take an education in music.
Yeah.
So a place to go to, and you grew up, and my father grew up, and so many of our friends grew up playing together. And to be musicians, you need to learn to play together.
It's true.
And you could do it on the computer, you could learn on YouTube and all that, but until you be in the same room with someone, you won't learn.
That collaboration is just everything.
You guys, I compare musicians to comedians. You both listen to each other. You have to listen to each other to play off of each other. So
it gets to the point when you're with like a group of musicians for so long, you can communicate musically, and you really don't have to say a whole lot.
Well, a great example is Russ Kunkel, the great drummer in Leland. They consider it like having two, leather sandal or, slippers.
Yeah.
They just slip in each other, that's it.
Right foot's connected to the bass guitar. Yeah.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much
you
for
so
coming
much.
today. So there you have it, 3M Studios. Check us out. Make sure you come and give us a visit. If you just want to come out and just see what we're doing over here, you're more than welcome to come.
You want to get the tickets? Tell them where to get tickets.
Yes.
Yeah, tell them.
ImmediateFamilyFilm.com. If you go to ImmediateFamilyFilm.com, you can see more information about the film, but you can grab the link to that. If you go to ImmediateFamily.com, you're going to get a therapist.
Okay, we'll run
So
all of that
put
information.
film at the end.
We'll
You'll
run
get
it at
that
the
off.
bottom of our screen so they can get all that.
Great.
Thanks a million.
Thank you again.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.